The message arrived at 8:12 in the morning, precise enough to feel intentional. We've changed the locks and the gate code. We no longer trust you. No greeting, no signature, just a sentence that read like a policy update. I stared at the screen longer than I expected, not because it surprised me, but because it felt rehearsed clean, professional, final, the kind of message you send when you want distance without discussion. I typed one word back, understood, right after that moment, before my coffee finished brewing. Before the house felt awake, I need to pause and clarify something. This is an original story written by the author of the Family Afterlight channel, built from familiar social issues with the purpose of helping viewers reflect, heal, and draw meaningful lessons. The content is not intended to depict any real individual. The kettle clicked off. Steam rose. My phone stayed silent. I opened my banking app with the same calm I used to open it every month. The automatic transfer stared back at me, scheduled like clockwork. $1,950, set to move at noon, just like it had for 4.5 years. I canceled it. No hesitation. No speech to myself about loyalty or patience. The confirmation screen blinked once, then disappeared. At 10:43, an unfamiliar number lit up my phone. I let it ring. A voicemail followed, breathless and clipped. "This is Michael Rosen from Rosen and Feldman. Please return my call as soon as possible. There appears to be an issue we need to address urgently." I didn't call back. By the time the message landed, whatever they thought they could control had already slipped. My phone buzzed again. This time, my mother's name filled the screen. "Lauren, we need to talk," the text demanded. "This escalation isn't necessary." Escalation. The word almost made me smile. I tapped out a reply. "You already made your decision." Another bubble appeared almost instantly. "You're overreacting. Families don't cut each other off like this." I watched the dots disappear and reappear, the digital version of pacing. "What you did was extreme," came next. "We're trying to protect the family." Protect. Another interesting choice. I locked the screen and set the phone face down on the counter. If you've ever been the dependable one, the person everyone calls when something breaks or a bill comes due, you know this moment. The second you stop solving problems, the tone changes. Concern turns into accusation. Gratitude becomes entitlement. If this story feels uncomfortably familiar, stay with me. Not because it's sensational, but because clarity has a way of sneaking up on people when they least expect it. At 11:30, my email chimed again. "Michael Rosen. Once more, please understand the seriousness of this situation. We're hoping to resolve this quietly." Quietly. That word told me everything. I took a sip of coffee, now lukewarm, and felt something settle in my chest. Not anger. Not grief. Something firmer. They had changed the locks. I had changed the terms. I wasn't born dependable. I was trained into it, one quiet favor at a time. "Lauren, you're just better with numbers." My father used to note whenever a bill arrived. The envelope would slide across the table toward me. Casual. Unquestioned. "You don't mind handling this." "Right, I've got it." Always came back from me, automatic as breathing. My mother preferred praise wrapped in expectation. "You're such a relief." Her voice often carried, warm but weighted. "I don't know what we'd do without you." The sentence never finished with gratitude. It ended with assumption. Brianna, my younger sister, learned early how this worked. "I'm in a bind," she'd text, usually late. "Just until next month." Next month always arrived with a new reason it couldn't be this one. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I was helping them stabilize. I told myself this was what strong daughters did when families leaned too hard. Every explanation felt responsible. None of them felt suspicious, at least not at first. When the mortgage transfer first came up, my mother framed it like a test of character. "You're in a better position than we are," she reasoned, "and it's still the family home." The word family lingered, heavy enough to pin the conversation in place. "I can cover it," I offered, hearing the certainty in my own voice. "It won't hurt me." My father nodded once, satisfied. "We knew we could count on you. Count on you. Not thank you. Not we'll remember this. Just count." Over time, the requests stopped sounding like requests. "The insurance is due," my mother would remind, as if she were checking the weather. "The roof can't wait." My father insisted during one winter storm. "Daycare is impossible right now," Brianna complained, frustration sharpened by certainty that I'd fix it. I did. Every time. I never kept score. I didn't want to know the total. Keeping track would have meant admitting this wasn't generosity anymore. It was maintenance. I was maintaining their comfort, their image, their belief that things simply worked out. On paper. I was the reliable one. In practice, I was invisible labor with a checking account. That morning, after the locks changed, my mother sent one more message. "You're acting like we've taken advantage of you." I let the screen dim without responding. The truth had finally caught up. And for the first time, I didn't rush to get ahead of it. The payments didn't feel dramatic when they started. They felt administrative. $1,950 every month. My banking app reminded me with the same neutral tone it used for my phone bill. The line item was labeled mortgage support, a name I chose to make it sound temporary. 4.5 years later, the word support had stopped meaning anything. Just keep it on auto, my father once suggested during a quick call. That way, no one has to think about it. No one but me. The money left my account on the 15th like a habit. After that came the quiet extras. Property tax notices forwarded to my email. Insurance renewals copied to me just in case. Internet bills I never used. Electricity for rooms I didn't live in. Each time, my mother's voice carried the same reassurance. It's easier if one person handles it. That person became me. When the storm tore through the neighborhood and peeled half the shingles off the roof, my phone rang before the rain stopped. "The contractor wants a deposit today," my father pressed, tension tucked under control. "We'll pay you back when things settle." I transferred the money while he was still talking. The bigger expenses blended into the smaller ones: heating repairs, plumbing, an aging air system that couldn't wait another winter. $41,200 spread out over months, softened by phrases like investment and protection. Brianna's needs came differently. They arrived with urgency. My card got declined at the grocery store. One message read, "The kids are with me." I paid it down without asking how it got there. "The car won't start." Another night buzzed through. "I can't get them to school." I covered the mechanic and the rental. Daycare became its own category. "Just until I get ahead," Brianna promised more than once. Getting ahead never seemed to arrive. My mother always followed up. "You know she's trying." The implication hung there. I wasn't supposed to measure effort, only outcome, over time. The numbers grew heavy enough to avoid. I didn't total them. I didn't want to. Adding them together would have forced me to name what this really was. Not generosity. Not family support. A system that worked because I didn't complain. "You're so good at managing things," my mother praised during one visit, eyes flicking toward the house. "It's like you don't even feel it." I felt all of it. I just learned not to show it. When the locks changed, I opened my statements for the first time without flinching. Month after month lined up neatly. Each transfer calm and obedient. $105,300 in mortgage assistance alone. $28,400 in taxes and insurance. $19,800 in utilities. $62,900 bailing Brianna out of emergencies that never stayed resolved. No one had ever asked for a total. No one wanted one. At noon, the canceled transfer would have gone through. Instead, the balance stayed where it was. And for the first time, the silence from their side felt louder than any request ever had. The photo appeared while I was waiting for groceries, thumb scrolling without intention. There they were, my parents, Brianna, the kids standing shoulder to shoulder in front of the house I had been paying for. Everyone was smiling the practiced kind of smile meant for neighbors and distant relatives. My mother's caption sat neatly under the image. So proud of Brianna for building a future for her family. This home is finally in the right hands. Right hands. No tag. No mention. Not even a passing nod to the person who had kept the lights on. I opened the comments. Hearts stacked on hearts. You raised her right. She deserves this. Such a strong mother. Diane. Someone I hadn't spoken to in years added, Brianna has always been the responsible one. I read that line twice. A text from my aunt followed minutes later. Saw the post. So happy for your sister. Everything worked out the way it should. Worked out. I locked my phone, then unlocked it again, staring at the image like it might change if I looked long enough. The porch railing I paid to have replaced. The front door I covered after the old one warped. The windows repaired after the storm. Another notification appeared. This time, Brianna. Did you see Mom's post? The message carried no hesitation. She's just proud. Don't read into it. I typed. Erased. Then typed again. Whose house is it? 3 dots blinked. Paused. Blinked again. Why would you ask that came back? You know how hard I've worked. Worked. My mother joined the conversation almost immediately. Social media isn't a ledger? Lauren, not everything needs to be explained. Explained. As if I were asking for justification instead of acknowledgement. I closed the app without replying. The groceries arrived. I loaded the bags into my car with the same steady movements I used when I was paying bills, when I was fixing things no one wanted to think about. Later that evening, another message appeared, lighter in tone. Family dinner this weekend, my mother suggested. We should celebrate. Celebrate what? Exactly. Was left unsaid. I didn't answer. The post stayed up. The comments kept coming. The story had been told without me, and judging by the applause, no one noticed anything missing. For the first time, I understood that silence could be louder than gratitude, and it had already decided where I stood. The call came the next morning, just after 9. Thank you for holding. This is Karen from Account Services. Her voice carried the practiced calm of someone trained to soften bad news. I'm calling regarding the Whitmore property. I leaned against the counter and listened. There was an attempted update submitted last week. She continued, a request to change the primary contact on the mortgage. My grip tightened. To whom? To Brianna Whitmore. A pause followed, careful. The submission included a draft quitclaim deed and a power of attorney. My name echoed faintly in my ears, not spoken but implied. That transfer did not go through, Karen clarified quickly. The signatures did not match our records. The file was flagged for review. Flagged. The word landed heavier than any accusation. I thanked her and ended the call before she could offer reassurance. The kitchen felt too quiet. I opened my banking app again, this time slower. The number jumped out immediately. $3,100 gone from my checking account, transferred overnight. The destination was familiar enough to sting an old credit card I had paid off years ago, Brianna's. I typed her name and waited. That card hasn't been active. My message read, why was it charged? The response came faster than expected. I assumed we were still sharing it. The kids needed shoes and groceries. Sharing. A word that suggested permission without asking. That card was closed. I wrote back. You didn't ask. Dots appeared, vanished, then reappeared. Don't make this ugly. We're family. My mother stepped in before I could reply. Lauren, let's take a breath. Her message urged, Brianna is under a lot of stress. $3,100 isn't a misunderstanding. I typed. It's money taken without consent. Her response arrived with a tone I recognized well. You're focusing on the wrong thing. This isn't about numbers. Numbers. The same numbers that kept their house standing. Let's not start a conflict over a few $1,000s, she added. You can afford it. There it was. The final piece clicked into place. I forwarded the bank's notification to both of them. The attempted transfer was flagged. The account is under review. My father finally joined the thread. No one was trying to steal from you. We were just organizing things. Organizing, another word dressed up to hide intent. I'll handle this with the bank. My mother followed quickly. There's no need to involve outsiders. Outsiders. As if my name hadn't been used without permission. I closed the thread without answering. The silence that followed felt different now. Not empty, measured. The bank had seen it. The paper trail existed. The house they treated like a gift was still tied to my name. For the first time, the ground under them shifted, and they knew it. The group chat changed its name that afternoon, Whitmore Circle. The heart felt deliberate. A message popped up before I could mute it. A meme filled the screen, an illustration of a woman holding a wallet, a calculator, and a phone. The caption read, "Responsible Daughter Starter Pack." Brianna reacted first. A laughing emoji. Then another. A cousin followed. Lauren should start charging interest. Someone else added, "At least name a kid after her if she's funding everything." The replies stacked quickly. Laughing faces. Thumbs up. No pause, no hesitation. I typed once, then stopped. The words felt unnecessary. Silence seemed clearer. My mother finally joined in. All right. Enough teasing. We're all family here. Family. Used like a lid pressed down after something spills. Another message appeared from my aunt. You know they don't mean harm. Everyone appreciates what you do. Appreciates. Without a single line that showed it. I left the chat. The screen blinked. You have been added to Whitmore Circle. Brianna's message arrived privately seconds later. Why are you being so sensitive? It was just a joke. Just a joke. The phrase landed with the same weight as just until next month. I exited again and blocked the thread completely. The quiet that followed felt earned. My phone buzzed almost immediately with a call from my father. I let it ring. A voicemail followed, tight and restrained. This doesn't need to turn into a thing. People joke because they're comfortable enough to laugh while standing on someone else's shoulders. Another text from my mother came through. You didn't have to leave the chat. That was dramatic. Dramatic. Not the forged paperwork, not the money taken, the exit. I set the phone down and watched the screen go dark. They had laughed because they were sure of their footing, sure that I would stay, sure that no matter how sharp the joke, I would keep paying, keep fixing, keep absorbing it quietly. The chat stayed blocked. No apologies followed, no clarifications. No one reached out to say it went too far. That was the loudest part. Because when humiliation turns into entertainment, it stops being accidental. And when no one steps in, the message is already decided. I went back to the house 2 days later to collect paperwork. Not furniture, not keepsakes, documents, the kind that proves something existed even after people pretend it didn't. The front door was locked. New deadbolt, new keypad. I didn't try to enter. I walked around the side, toward the garage, where my mother used to leave the window cracked when she cooked. The sound reached me before the words did. Brianna's laugh cut through first. Light. Casual. Unbothered. She didn't even argue. Her voice carried, amused, just walked away like she always does. My mother responded without lowering her tone. That's because she knows how this works. She cools off. She comes back. Another laugh. Exactly. As long as the transfer's clear, we're fine. A pause followed, just long enough for me to hold my breath. She's not family anymore. Brianna continued, sharper now. She's a line item, one expense. If it clears, everything stays calm. Silence didn't follow. Agreement did. My mother's voice softened, the way it always did when she believed she was being reasonable. Don't be cruel. She chose this role. Chose. I mean it, Brianna insisted. She's good at it. She likes being needed. The words settled into me slowly, not like a blow. but like something heavy being placed where my heart used to be. No shock, no anger, just clarity. The door inside creaked. Footsteps moved closer. I stepped back before either of them could turn the corner. Inside the house, drawers opened, papers shuffled. "We should make sure the bank stuff gets finished soon," Brianna added. "Once it's officially in my name, she can't pull anything like this again." My mother hummed in agreement. She insisted on keeping it under her credit. "That's on her. That's on her." I walked back to my car without making a sound. My hands didn't shake. My chest didn't tighten. Something had already detached, clean and final. On the drive home, my phone buzzed. A text from my mother lit up the screen. "Did you stop by? We need to coordinate better. This tension isn't healthy." Coordinate? The word felt almost kind. Another message followed before I could respond. "We've done a lot for you too, Lauren. Don't forget that." I placed the phone face down on the passenger seat. At home. I opened my laptop and pulled every statement I had avoided, every transfer, every receipt, every forwarded bill. I created folders with dates instead of excuses, categories instead of emotions. Mortgage assistance, repairs, insurance, utilities, emergency expenses. Brianna. The numbers lined up without resistance. 105,300, 28,400, 41,200, 62,900. Each total sat quietly, waiting. An email sat in my drafts with one name in the recipient field, Thomas Hale. Subject line, "For your awareness." I attached the ledger. No explanation, no plea. Then I closed the laptop. They had finally named me correctly. Not daughter, not sister, not support. A line item. And line items, once identified, can be removed without drama. The invitation arrived in a thick envelope, the kind meant to feel expensive. Diane Whitmore's 60th birthday gala, North Shore Country Club, legacy, family, home, no signature, just your family. I didn't respond. I circled the date, printed the ledger, and uploaded digital copies to 3 separate drives. When the night came, I arrived late on purpose. Inside, my mother stood near the entrance greeting people like a guest of honor and a judge at the same time. When her eyes found me, her smile tightened. "You came." Her mouth formed. Sweetness stretched thin. "Good. Maybe we can act normal." Normal ended when you changed the locks. My voice stayed even. Her posture shifted, chin lifting. That was protection. "You've been unpredictable, for canceling one transfer." Across the room, Brianna floated between relatives, soaking up attention. When she noticed me, she angled her body away as if distance could erase history. The program moved quickly. A cousin tapped the microphone and announced, "Tonight, we celebrate Diane's legacy and the family she built." Applause. Glasses clinked. The slideshow started behind them: vacations, holidays, childhood smiles. Then the house appeared on the screen, framed like a trophy. Brianna stepped up first. "This year taught us what sacrifice looks like." Her voice carried confidently. "What love looks like. What real family does when it matters." My mother followed, eyes shining on command. "A mother learns which child carries the family forward," she declared. "I'm grateful our home will stay in the right hands." The room rewarded her with claps that felt automatic. I stood before my courage could be mistaken for hesitation. My mother's eyes widened slightly, warning in the look. "Lauren, not tonight." "Tonight fits." My voice stayed calm. "Since we're talking about legacy." A hand reached for the microphone as if to stop me. "My father's." He froze when I turned toward him. "Let her speak," someone murmured from the back. The projector remote felt light in my palm. One click, and the screen shifted from family photos to a clean spreadsheet. A ripple moved through the room. "This is a record of what I paid." My tone held steady. Not feelings, not opinions. Transactions. My mother's laugh came out sharp. This is inappropriate. Inappropriate was submitting a quitclaim deed and a power of attorney using my name. The words landed without heat. The bank flagged it. The signatures didn't match. Brianna's face drained. That's not what happened. Another click brought up a bank notification. Another click brought up the old credit card transfer. $3,100 taken without permission. I continued. Then, I was told not to start conflict over a few $1,000s. My mother stepped forward. Smile gone. You're embarrassing us. You were comfortable erasing me in public. My voice remained level. This is just accurate. Brianna pushed past a relative, jaw tight. You act like we forced you. My gaze held hers. You called me a line item. The room shifted again. More than a ripple this time, chairs creaked. Whispers rose, a glass set down too hard. My father's voice broke through. Enough. You're going to ruin your mother's birthday. My payments built the version of her legacy you've been selling. The words came out quiet and clean. $105,300 in mortgage assistance, $28,400 in taxes and insurance, $19,800 in utilities, $41,200 in repairs, $62,900 covering Brianna's emergencies. My mother's expression hardened into something familiar. So this is about money. It's about truth, I replied, letting the spreadsheet stay visible. If Brianna owns the house, Brianna owns the debt. A voice cut through the noise from the entrance. Low and steady. That's enough. Thomas Hale stood there, coat still on, eyes sweeping the room like he'd walked into a mess he expected. My mother's breath caught. Dad, you didn't tell me you were coming. I didn't come for cake. His tone carried no warmth. I came for accountability. He stepped toward the microphone without asking. The room made space. You didn't raise a family, he stated, gaze locked on my mother and father. You built a system. Lauren wasn't your daughter. She was your safety net. My father tried to interrupt. Sir, with respect. With respect. You signed paperwork you had no right to touch. Thomas cut in, voice quiet but final. The trust was amended 2 weeks ago. Brianna has been removed. Diane and Richard no longer have discretionary control. Gasps spread like wind. My mother's face cracked. You can't do that. I already did. His attention moved to me. You're done paying. I didn't stay to watch them scramble for a new story. I walked out past the gift table, past the wrapped boxes and smiling photos, and into the night with my phone silent in my pocket. The messages arrived before sunrise. My mother's name appeared first. You humiliated me in front of everyone. A pause, then another line followed. I never thought my own daughter would do this. My father's number came next. You crossed a line. Money doesn't buy respect. Brianna didn't write at all. Her silence carried more weight than anything she could have typed. I set the phone down and made coffee. The quiet felt earned. 3 days later, an unfamiliar email arrived from a legal office in Chicago. The language was careful, trimmed of emotion. We are prepared to resolve this matter privately. The offer followed in neat paragraphs. Detached and final. $180,000. Transferred as reimbursement. No admission of wrongdoing. No further contact. I read it once. Then again. When the wire cleared, I didn't feel victorious. I felt finished. That afternoon, my mother tried one last time. You could have handled this differently. Her voicemail insisted. Families don't keep score. I deleted it without listening twice. What I kept instead was the lesson no one in my family ever named. Out loud love that depends on usefulness isn't love. It's a transaction pretending to be tradition. Responsibility without consent turns into obligation. Obligation without respect turns into control. A week later, I moved into a small condo near Evanston. No spare rooms, no guest expectations. The first night, my phone didn't ring. No emergencies. No guilt dressed up as concern. A friend asked over dinner, "Do you miss them?" I stirred my drink and answered honestly, "I miss who I thought they were." That truth felt lighter than any apology could have. If you're listening to this and recognizing pieces of your own life in mine, take a moment here. You don't need to comment, explain, or justify yourself to anyone. Just notice what you've been carrying that no one ever thanked you for. Notice how often silence has been mistaken for peace. The last message I received came from my father a month later. So that's it. Then, I didn't reply. Because I didn't walk away angry. I walked away clear. Clear that boundaries aren't punishments. They're definitions. Clear that generosity without limits becomes a cage. Clear that choosing yourself doesn't make you heartless, it makes you honest. I didn't win. I stopped losing. And if this story gave you language for something you've felt but never named, carry that with you. Sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is stop paying for a place where they were never allowed to belong.